We are going to start off with the whole idea of the party barn build. And since Jason is the lead with the building process, I'm going to ask the questions, he's going to have the answers, and we're going to go ahead and start off with the idea.
So the original idea was to build a small storage garage. In our county, anything under 400 square feet, you do not have to get a permit for. So we knew what size we wanted to go with off the bat. But then Holly came up with the idea of going with the party barn.
So in our last video, we chatted all things of the inspiration of the party barn. And so if you want a little bit more context into that, you guys can go back to that video and watch it. It's a really fun video.
So now that we knew what to build and how big it was going to be, the next step was to figure out what we wanted it to look like. So we started coming up with different ideas and looking up other party barns for inspiration and came up with the idea that we currently have right now.
Ended up deciding to go with an 18 by 22 foot. That way it was way under the 400 square feet. There wasn't going to be any confusion with having to measure it if the county did come and look at it. And that's ultimately why we decided to go with that size.
So Holly had a great idea of wanting to add a bathroom outside. That way we would eliminate guests having to come into the house to use our own personal bathrooms. So the three ideas that we had originally came up with was one, adding one into the party barn. We scrapped that idea pretty early just because we knew that it was going to take a lot of square footage up inside the party barn, and with us being limited with 400 square feet, we wanted to have as much space as possible in the party barn.
Option number two was right outside of the lean-to is to have what would look like almost like an outhouse, and an outhouse is going to look like an outhouse. So I took that out of the scenario pretty fast.
So we decided to add one in my shop, which is right next to the party barn. So it just makes a lot more sense to have something in my shop. We're planning on adding an office in there anyways. It would be a lot easier to install one in there, plus a lot cheaper because you don't have to frame it up, or at least exterior walls. There's no concrete you have to pour for it. So it wound up being actually the cheapest option to do. So now that we had an idea of what to build with the party barn and where it was going to go, we decided to work on the landscaping and what was going to be around it. We were originally going to do concrete everywhere, so we were going to do a big patio that was going to be concrete. The front apron in front of the party barn was going to be concrete. Luckily, a good friend of mine came up with the idea of doing a patio paver instead, just to kind of add different elements and a different look to it. So we decided to add a nice, big, large patio paver to the east side of the party barn, where we would have full access and full view of our mountain view, as well as adding it in front of the party barn as well, just to kind of give it a nice, cleaner look rather than just concrete everywhere. Since it is by the shop, which we already have plenty of concrete for it. So now that everything was figured out, we knew exactly where everything was gonna go. The next step was to grade. So I grabbed my tractor, started doing all the grading for the party barn, getting everything all leveled out. And then my buddy came over who was doing the concrete. We framed up all the boards for that. We brought in a little bit of gravel to save on some concrete since the concrete price has gone up quite a bit. The gravel is significantly cheaper, so that saved us a little bit in the long run. We brought a plate compactor, packed everything down, and we were ready to pour.
We ended up going with a smooth finish because we're not exactly sure if we're going to do hardwood flooring, like a vinyl flooring, or if we're going to leave it concrete. It just depends on a few kind of key things. I think I'm leaning more towards flooring, but we will see later on. If you are starting a new build or even a home renovation this year, I know it can be so stressful at times. And that is why I am so thankful for today's video sponsor, BetterHelp. They were so kind and they gave our viewers a 10% off their first month using BetterHelp. And I know it's a new year. A lot of us are working on ourselves, me included. And this year I'm focusing on being more intentional in my life and focusing on things that really truly matter and hyper focusing on those. And BetterHelp is helping me accomplish those goals. Speaking with a licensed therapist can really help you feel heard, and it's a great way to get a different insight with alternative different options and ways to accomplish your goals that you might not have heard of. BetterHelp really makes starting therapy so easy and less intimidating than other options, as you can do it right from the comfort of your own home. You can choose to use BetterHelp in many different ways, whether that be phone calls, video chats, or even messaging. BetterHelp can also help you get matched with one of 30,000 online therapists that really can help you with your needs, preferences, and even based off of your location. To get started, you answer a very simple questionnaire going over some challenges that you might be facing in your life right now and what kind of therapist would fit your needs the most. In most cases, within 48 hours, BetterHelp will get in contact with a therapist for you. And if your therapist isn't a good match, for absolutely no cost, you can switch your therapist to one that fits your needs most. Join over 4 million BetterHelp users by clicking the link in the description box below that have chosen to live a healthier and happier life. And you can find it at betterhelp.com/livingitcountry. They've given our viewers a 10% off their first month with BetterHelp, and I really hope that this can benefit you just as much as it has benefited me. So the building supplies, we ended up going with a local supply center called Thomas Building Center, and they're just great to work with. And we decided to do our business that way since they were able to deliver all of our materials to our home for free. And then the returns, they just make really simple, and they're always really on top of it. And I'm pretty sure we got our materials within a day. So really great, and we really like the people there.
So once we finally had all the materials on site, we were able to start the framing, which started about a couple weeks after the material was dropped off. My buddy who did the concrete also did all the framing with us, and we did a great job. That went out really fast. There was a couple changes that were made by changing a couple window sizes, but everything, the whole concept of it still remained the same. The framing took about roughly 3 days to get everything done. It took a little longer because during the building process, I was starting to notice that it was kind of looking pretty bland, even though it's just the main structure of it. And I felt like it needed to add something to it. So we decided to come up with the idea of adding a dormer onto the east side, which I think was totally worth it. So that added another day to add that on and finish everything up. And once all the building was done, we wound up getting some Tyvek, drying it in, and it's all ready for the next step in process of the building.
So what is next on the list of videos? Our next episode is going to be a party barn build tour. You guys will get to see what it looks like now and a little tour of what's to come. And then our next building video will be
getting our windows in, the doors, getting siding and painting done, and then also finishing off the roof. So that will be the next big step We have our windows ordered and we're just waiting on the doors as well. So once all that comes in, we can finally start the process of the siding and painting. As of right now, we're kind of on a standstill just because everything's so far booked out.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys in our upcoming party barn tour. Bye.